CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
President Paul Biya and the U.S. Ambassador to Cameroon, Peter Henry Ballerin, hold talks at the Unity Palace with relations between the two countries taking central stage. Gabon and Equatorial Guinea closed their borders with Cameroon following the confirmation of 2 coronavirus cases on Cameroonian soil. The 6 verification boards of the National Assembly are busy at work screening the credentials of the MNAs to ensure compatibility with the exigencies of the elective mandate. Those are our top stories. Hello and thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I am Ben Menopufong. There was a guest at the Unity Palace today. U.S. Ambassador to Cameroon and President Paul Biya met in a tete-a-tete during which relations between their two countries came under review. Peter Henry Ballerin reaffirmed his government's commitment to help Cameroon attain its development dream while hailing the Cameroon government for measures taken to eradicate HIV/AIDS. Ashunyenti reports from the Unity Palace.
The U.S. Ambassador, Peter Henry Ballerin, has not been to Unity Palace for a while. He comes this Wednesday, March 11, 2020, on the heels of the French ambassador, who was here a couple of days ago, though not necessarily for the same reasons. But the welcome arrangements are similar, with the Chief of State Protocol and the Minister, Director of the Civil Cabinet, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo, on hand to usher the guest in.
Son Excellence Peter Henry Ballerin, ambassadeur des États-Unis d'Amérique.
For about an hour, President Paul Biya and the American diplomat condemned the recent acts of violence in Galim and on the Commercial Avenue in Bamenda on March 8. But the crux of the conversation centers on topical health concerns and bilateral questions such as
the joint efforts to try to make of Cameroon an emerging country by the year 2035 and our great cooperation that we have in the fight against the novel coronavirus. With respect to that, I was very happy to visit just a couple of days ago the Public Health Emergency Operations Center and to see it in full action and people working calmly and quietly on trying to combat this virus. We have provided hundreds of millions of dollars over the past 5 years or so for the well-being and the health of Cameroonians, in particular youth. In addition to that, our Centers for Disease Control contributed, I would say, $120,000 to the Minister of Public Health specifically for fighting this coronavirus, and we will continue to accompany Cameroon in that regard.
Ambassador Ballerin commends President Biya's courage and foresight in his energetic fight against the HIV/AIDS pandemic.
I also congratulated the President for his bold decision to eliminate user fees for HIV/AIDS services, and I as he well knows, we tripled our budget for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief. And I think those two facts together, we hope to be able to eliminate reduce the risk of HIV/AIDS by the year 2021.
It should be recalled that President Paul Biya attended the Global Fund's Replacement Conference in France in October last year, intended to fight against AIDS, among other pandemics, and Cameroon made a contribution of 3 billion francs towards eradicating the menace. Based on the assessment of the American diplomat, Cameroon is in the right strides in the fight against these pandemics, and especially in keeping the developing coronavirus at bay.
The Korean ambassador to Cameroon says her country is ready to proceed with the launching of the new customs management system in the country, known as the Cameroon Customs Information System. Bok Rioru made the information public in Yaoundé today during an audience with Prime Minister John Gute. The new e-clearing system will promote the management of customs transactions in Cameroon and bring added transparency in customs clearance. Christian Cheatam with the details from the Star Building.
Cameroon and South Korea have been working on a partnership to improve the customs management system in the country since 2016. The new e-clearance system, known as the Cameroon Customs Information System, CAMSIS, is meant to replace the Sidonia++ software, which has become obsolete, time-consuming, and vulnerable, thereby undermining the performance of the Customs Department in Cameroon. The visit by the Korean delegation to Prime Minister Joseph John Gute focused mainly on presenting the new customs management tool and its advantages to the Cameroonian economy.
I am convinced that with this system, we can say e-government digitalize the system in the customs. We will achieve the goal to increase trade volume and custom revenue. So it will be very transparent and very efficient in the implementation of the activities of the customs.
The setting up of CAMSIS is already complete. The audience with Prime Minister Joseph John Gute also permitted the Korean partners to discuss about its imminent launch.
I hope it will be maybe April 1st for nationwide system.
Once it is launched, the Cameroon Customs Information System, CAMSIS, will be used by the Customs Department in freight management, revenue collection, customs clearance, and risk management, amongst others.
France and Cameroon have signed the third phase of the Debt Reduction and Development Contract, the C2D, with a global envelope of 68 billion CFA francs. The French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guilou, and the Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Alamine Ousmane Mey, sealed the deal today. In line with the agreement, the sum will be invested in social services and in carrying out projects to improve on the livelihoods within the period spanning from 2020 to 2022. Luma Slim Davis tells us more.
The Disindebtedness and Development Contract, CDD, for 2020-2022 is in its third phase, and the convention signed between Cameroon and France on this account has a financial implication of 67.8 billion CFA francs.
We are supporting basic education, maternal health, and support to the social services in mainly 3 regions, Adamawa, North, and Far North. The idea behind that is to support, for example, in the field of basic education, the construction of over 1,350 new classes.
Priority is to support government humanitarian development policies and reinforce basic services.
Second sector is the maternal health. Through this support, we will have over 360,000 health checks that will benefit to pregnant women.
With mechanisms in place to ensure effective implementation and control, expected results are guaranteed.
You can verify how we use these resources based on rules and regulation attached to this financing contribution from France.
With over 800 billion CFA francs spent in about 15 years of partnership between Cameroon and France, much has been achieved to improve on the living conditions of the population.
There is a yawning deficiency in the number of specialized medical practitioners in Cameroon, and this at a time when the health needs of the country are on a steady climb. Statistics indicate that in some public training medical institutions in the country, barely 4 medics complete a specialization a year. Cynthia Saptala has this insight into the specialized medical training system in Cameroon today.
The World Health Organization has estimated that the doctor-patient ratio in Cameroon is 1 to 40,000 inhabitants instead of the recommended 1 to 10,000. The scarcity is much more felt, especially in the suburbs and villages, when it comes to specialists. According to health officials, the shortage is because many medical doctors prefer some fields of specialization to the detriment of others.
There are specialties that attract youths, and there are other domains where you find a few lecturers and trainers. For example, there are a few trainers in rheumatology. That is why there are few who specialize in this domain.
Another reason mentioned has to do with the training program itself. At the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the University of Yaoundé 1, for example, there are 3 categories of training upon admission, which last for 7 years before a medical doctor can pursue any specialization.
The duration of a training program is an average of 4 years. It depends also on a number of parameters such as training centers, human resources in that specialty, and there must be candidates.
While the public training institutions may be affordable for some, the private sector is different and varies from about 1 million CFA francs and more for quality training, talk less of a specialty.
Psychiatry, for example, is a demanded specialty here and abroad. There are some candidates who pursue training in this domain, continue abroad and never return.
Though the demand for specialists are high, the possibilities of practicing in an environment with the current technical platform and pay package often fail in comparison to the over 11 years of training many specialized doctors put in.
The patient-specialist ratio in Cameroon remains inferior to WHO standards. In the field of pediatrician or pediatrics, for instance, the ratio is 1 pediatrician to 100,000 children. Yet, there are just about 120 pediatricians in the entire nation. Beatrice Ngum spent the day of today in a pediatric ward of a clinic downtown Yaoundé and now reports on how the lone pediatrician there copes with the swelling number of cases.
When she steps in through this door, her day's task begins.
What a tough day between consultations, hospitalization, follow-up.
Dr. Ngoso, the children's doctor, clads herself in a lap jacket, visits all cases, and then settles down for new files. And oof, the usual silence in the clinic is broken.
They are friends to me. We see about 30-40 children in private practice.
Children of all age group go through her on the sea.
For the past 3 years, I've been consulting my children here and I feel satisfied each time I come.
Although always there for the kids, her burden for the ones in the countryside lingers.
In rural regions, there's no pediatrician. Children can see one pediatrician maybe one time in their life. It means we need more pediatricians.
And this is not her only worry.
Patients don't really have the money to pay their fees. Sometimes parents don't know what is good for their children, and sometimes they think we want to keep their children to the hospital, maybe to get something, to get the money.
The patient-specialist ratio, she says, is insignificant. She encourages the youth to become pediatricians and says it's a wonderful experience.
It's a so wonderful job. It's not something you are going to tell your children they have to do it. You have to feel it as anything as your job, and you have to make it fine because you love it.
Screams like these are part of her daily life, but she feels glad being a mother to thousands of children.
And Cameroon lacks specialists in cardiovascular and renal diseases. Orthopedic surgeons, nephrologists, and urologists are also available in small numbers. The growing demand for their services makes it urgent for the country to develop training facilities in this field. Rainato Sali reports on the gravity of the shortage of specialists in Cameroon today.
The doctor-patient ratio for general practitioners stands at 1 doctor per 12,000 patients. An even wider gap is recorded for medical specialists.
There's a specialist problem. I think, first of all, it's the platform that's available to train the specialists. It's more and more, and until it gets there, we would not have certain kinds of specialists, because obviously to train certain types of people we need to already have certain equipment to be able.
The lack of technical platforms is just one of the reasons. The other being the shift in epidemiology, that is, the change in disease patterns, with less of infectious diseases imposing a need for specialization.
We have a tendency towards cardiovascular diseases, which is more preponderant nowadays. You have more strokes, you have more renal diseases. So with respect to that, we need to find a way to train doctors who are also specialized in these fields.
As years go by, cases of cardiovascular and renal diseases increase, health experts say. There is therefore a need to train more cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, nephrologists, urologists, and orthopedic surgeons.
More cardiologists, but you also need more cardiac surgeons, for example. And even in the field of cardiology, you need interventional cardiologists. So you have nephrologists, but you also need to equip other doctors, we call them urologists, who are surgeons who operate on problems involving the renal tract. You also need to train orthopedic surgeons.
The need for specialization in the medical field is urgent as the trends keep changing, requiring more research and new skills.
Health officials in the South region have stepped up measures to check the coronavirus in border localities, with health structures receiving the appropriate material and kits. The measure comes as its neighbors, Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, closed their borders following the confirmation of 2 corona cases in Cameroon as preventive measures. Pontianus Lawong is in Bolova.
No human life at the Cameroon-Gabon border in Kiosi in the Ntem Valley division. Circulation of persons has ground to a halt following a decision of the Gabonese government signed on March 6 to guard against the coronavirus. The Equatorial Guinea has also sealed its borders with Cameroon. I went back home to solve an urgent family problem. On my way back, they refused me entry, saying that there is coronavirus in Cameroon. Cameroonian health officials have also stepped up preventive measures. Border health structures in Nambam, Abang-Minko and Kiosi have been adequately equipped to check and handle possible COVID-19 cases.
L'hôpital de référence qu'on a eu localement, c'est le CMA.
The local reference hospital here is the Kiosi Health Center, where we have chosen 2 rooms to serve as isolation wards for possible coronavirus cases. We have some material like blouses, gloves, hand sanitizers and so on. A rapid intervention team of experts has been set up at the regional level in Ebolova to collect samples and forward them to Yaoundé for the necessary tests should suspected cases be detected. Sensitization messages have been pasted on the walls of the various hospitals, while community health agents have been trained to educate the population about the symptoms of the coronavirus, basic preventive measures, and above all, the need to take suspected cases to the hospital. The SDO for the Ntem Valley, Buba Haman, has been to the border town of Kiosi to evaluate the measures taken. He has called for more vigilance and promised to ensure more medical supplies.
And fears have been rising that the coronavirus outbreak might have caused food shortage in the country. The Minister of Trade, Luke Magloa Barga Tangana, convened business people, customs and port authorities to weigh the veracity of these fears and was assured that there are enough food stocks in the markets and therefore no cause for any alarm. Here is an excerpt of the minister's statement after the meeting.
There is no risk of shortage on any product consumed in our market. It's one thing, one hand. In the second hand, of course, if the products are available, it means that you will not have any risk of speculation on price. And the last aspect is the security of the product. All disposition has been taken to be sure of the safety of the products on the market. What I want to mean is that for the next 4 months, at minimum, our market is covered.
Hosting an international training workshop on kidney diseases in children ahead of World Kidney Day celebrated every March 12. The 2-day workshop will enable participants exchange and examine a number of clinical cases and suggest suitable treatment. Enanga Kebi has the details.
Kidney disease is a non-communicable disease and currently affects over 850 million people worldwide. As for children, the most common kidney diseases are present at birth.
Kidney disease in children is mostly CACUT, congenital anomalies of the kidney urinary tract, which will lead to 50% of chronic renal failure in children.
Doctors can diagnose them before birth through echography. The diseases can affect children in various ways.
If the child is born less than 2.5 kilograms, if the child is born before the 37 weeks of pregnancy, if the child is usually having fever or urinary tract infection, if the child is swollen or hypertension, that are symptoms that you can think of renal disease in children.
Parents are advised to take children for checkups in hospital, while the doctors frown at auto-medication, maintaining that not every fever or high temperature in children are malaria. Drawn from France, Switzerland, Gabon, the Central African Republic, Benin, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Cameroon, the participants have a charged program that will enable them resolve on how to prevent or reduce kidney diseases in children.
Thanks for watching the news on the Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaoundé. We take you over to Parliament, where the 6 verification boards constituted to check cases of incompatibility of the 167 members-elect of the National Assembly have begun examining the required files. The board members scrutinized documents related to birth, nationality, issues of incompatibility with an elective mandate, amongst others. Esther Kima reports on today's deliberations at the various boards.
The National Assembly premises is void of the frenzy that characterized the opening statutory ordinary session, as the members of the 6 verification boards immediately set for work after electing their bureau, made up of chairpersons, vice chairpersons and secretaries, in accordance with the standing orders of the National Assembly. The primary duty of the boards, which reflects the political configuration of the House, entails examining the authenticity of the documents tabled by the members-elect.
We're checking on the documents that were asked: birth certificate, national ID card, and a declaration of honor.
Given that the office of member of the National Assembly is incompatible with state remunerated duties, the members watched out for such files.
No cases of incompatibility, no. We had people who are working the government and they had to be, because you cannot have the two jobs at the same time. So, and they provided many documents who state that they are no longer working in the government.
In cases where the declaration on honor on the end or suspension of incompatibility activity have not been presented, the elected representative concerned will be given 10 days to either resign from his office as member of the National Assembly or from the incompatible office, failure to which an automatic resignation shall be established.
And on to this press release from Elections Cameroon, and it reads, the Director General of Elections wishes to inform the political parties running for the election of members of the National Assembly of the 22nd of March 2020 that their election campaign ballots have been produced. Officials of the said political parties or their representatives are therefore requested to contact room 209 at the Elections Cameroon head office in order to dispense with the formalities of withdrawal of their ballots. And it has been signed Dr. Esuse Eric. The non-governmental organization Observatory for Societal Development has added its voice to those of national NGOs calling on Cameroonians to have trust in their government as it struggles to face up to the challenges currently plaguing the nation. The NGO deplored the fact that some international human rights bodies are blowing in Cameroon's current predicaments beyond proportions. Moki Edwin Kinzika was part of the NGO's press conference in Yaoundé today.
The Observatory for Societal Development says its fury was provoked by the non-condemnation of last weekend's twin terrorist attacks on Galim and Bamenda by what it calls lesson-giving rights groups and NGOs.
Il convient. We are asking ourselves why those non-governmental organizations that claim to protect human rights are silent over the Galim terrorist attack. Why they have not issued a statement to criticize those terrorists who attacked women in Bamenda when they were simply celebrating their International Day. We are asking ourselves if such non-governmental organizations are not out to destroy Cameroon, just like the terrorists.
According to the NGO, Cameroonians should not be deceived that such groups love them more than the government of the Republic, which dedicates huge resources to maintain territorial integrity and protect all of its citizenry.
L'Observatoire exprime Cameroonians should show signs of patriotism and maturity and be vigilant in the face of the difficulties they are going through while promoting the spirit of living together. The Observatory wishes to congratulate defense and security forces for protecting fatherland.
It sounded like another clarion call on Cameroonians not to be deceived that solutions to their problems will come from outside.
The use of the English language and French shall henceforth be mandatory in ordinary law and specialized courts. This is one of the provisions of the law on the promotion of official languages in Cameroon, a move that has been hailed by legal minds. And in continuation of our series on the promotion of official languages, we take a look at what changes in judicial proceedings this particular provision will be bringing. And Clarice Array Takang tells us in the following report.
What used to happen practically is that if you are before a court and you don't understand the language of the court, because they seek the services of a translator, you are being tried in a language that is not yours, and language that I don't understand. Is a miscarriage of justice because you are not being given a fair chance to defend yourself.
This is the scenario which played out in courts across the country. Addressing these issues is what brought about Section 26 of the Law on the Promotion of Official Languages in Cameroon. The use of both English and French in all law courts is henceforth mandatory.
A litigant has to be heard in a language that he is comfortable with, be it the French courts or English jurisdictions. The judge is bound to be conversant with both languages in the sense that if a litigant decides to speak in one language, the judge must be able to understand that language.
Even more important, legal minds acknowledge, is the provision which makes obligatory the passing or reading of judgments in the language requested by the litigant.
A litigant can opt and tell the judge that, okay, I'm coming for my judgment on X day, my judgment must be read in English, or my judgment should be read in French. By the time judgment is rendered, it must render in the language that you understand, so that by the time you are leaving the court, you know exactly what has been said.
The legal framework for the promotion of official languages in Cameroon has been laid down. Expert views hold that, given that the responsibility of the judiciary to ensure that the rights and freedoms of citizens are duly upheld is crucial, any mechanism which lifts up the language hurdle is salutary.
CRTV's female staff was given a treat during the just ended Women's Week in the country by the cosmetic giant La Fortuna SR. The ladies were offered gifts of pharmaceutical value, beauty products, and they all testified that the products were of superlative quality. Colette Jani now reports on the strength of this dealer in over 2,500 beauty products.
The demystification of beauty trends through the availability of high-quality but affordable para-pharmaceutical products by La Fortune SA has succeeded to wow many women, including female workers of the CRTV, who visited some shops and distribution centers of the beauty company in Yaoundé.
This is a laudable initiative, given the fact that these products are coming straight away from the manufacturers, from the laboratory. They can be held responsible. It means that this is a double confidence for everybody who is using a product from this shop. Males too need to get the right lotion for themselves. They will be amazed with the variety they'll find here.
From shampoos to shower gels, food supplements, nail accessories and body creams, the management of La Fortune has made sure these beauty products are available at the Mokolo agency in Yaoundé and the Bopi and Bonamoussadi distribution centers in Douala 7 days a week.
It's a para-pharmacy where we educate women on how to take care of their skin. We have imported products from USA, France, and other European countries. So here we take our time to educate people. We give you advice on what to use on your body. For the different types of skin, we tell you what type of skin do you have. We explain to you what is best for your skin. Here we don't sell products with hydroquinone. We sell good products to take care of your natural color.
With over 10 years of experience, La Fortune SA has over 2,500 para-pharmaceutical brands in the market to meet up with the beauty needs of women in Cameroon.
As the countdown to the African Nations Championship narrows, we continue to present the different pools of the competition that rumbles off on April 4, 2020. Tonight, focus is on Group B, that is consisting of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo itself, Libya, and Niger, and they will be based in Douala, specifically at the Japoma Stadium. Baldwin Sama presents the strengths and weaknesses of the Group B contenders.
Group B, made up of Libya, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Niger, simply has as favorites the Democratic Republic of Congo. Twice they have won this competition and they are looking forward to their third win with outstanding players like Jackson Mulemba and Trezon Puto, with Tipi Mazembe and Dise Mutema Pembe providing the team with the best quality players who will make use of their continental experience to impose themselves. The team has renewed her managerial team, hoping for the best during the CHAN. Their neighbors on their part, Congo, will be participating for the third time in this competition. In 2018 in Morocco, they ended up 5th, and their intention this year is to reach the semi-final stage. The players called to camp are the best selected from the local football championship. Drawn into the competition after the withdrawal of Tunisia, the Mediterranean Knights of Libya 2014 CHAN winners are looking forward to reigniting their winning spirits in this competition, given that no football league exists in Libya for now due to insecurity concerns. And perhaps the underdog in this group is Niger. They have never won this competition before, and they want to use their presence in Cameroon during this African Nations Championship to write a new page in their football history.
Still in sports, the Confederation of African Football CAF, in a press release this afternoon, says it has been monitoring the situation of the coronavirus outbreak in some African countries. According to a World Health Organization report, no African country so far has been declared a high-risk zone. Consequently, all CAF competitions have been maintained, including the Total African Nations Championship to take place in Cameroon from the 4th to the 25th of April. However, a medical team from CAF will visit Cameroon from March 14 to March 15 to evaluate the preventive measures that have so far been taken. The first edition of the sort of cycling tourism initiative, dubbed Cyclo-Tourism, has been launched in Gamadzab in the Central region. Participants will pedal through Cameroon's towns and enjoy its tourist attractions. Organized by the Cameroon Cycling Federation and the French Embassy in Yaoundé, the takeoff ceremony was marked by the donation of gifts of writing materials to pupils of a local government school. Details with Marcel Forge.
More than 31 athletes consisting of renowned cyclists like Clovis Kamjong, diplomats like the French and European Union ambassadors to Cameroon, and top dignitaries like Minister Grégoire Owona took off from Barmayo last Saturday with the aim of discovering the different localities of Ngomejab on bicycle. After completing a more than 60 kilometers lap from Barmayo to Nkwabe, passing through Mengeme in close to 3 hours, some of the cyclists expressed delight at the initiative.
I'm very satisfied, and what we have in mind now is to duplicate that into other regions of Cameroon, hopefully once a month.
A humanitarian association, Le Marian, also used the initiative to distribute basic necessities to inhabitants of the locality, as well as didactic materials to pupils of the Nkwabe public school.
We have given them didactic materials because we were not able to come here during school resumption. We have also given the women foodstuffs so that they can eat like other women elsewhere.
The tour ended with a cultural exhibition by pupils of the Nkwabe Public School. The next edition of the cyclotourism tour is slated for April, but this time in another region.
The 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, and that's where we'll leave it for this edition. Thanks.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.